Hi there everyone, my name's Victoria Bradley and I am a business advisor here at Bright Red Triangle, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about testing and validating your idea and why it's so important. It's extremely important to test and validate your idea for a number of reasons, mainly because when we come up with a business idea for a product or service, it's based on our own assumptions. So it's really important that you take a step back, speak to your potential customer base and see if your assumptions are valid, or if there's even a need for the product or service that you're offering, or potentially if there's another way that you could tackle the problem. It's a really powerful thing to do and you'll get so much amazing feedback from it. And the great thing about testing your idea is it can be scary, but in the long run it can save you so much heartache, hard work and potential money as well. There's a number of methods that you can use to test your idea, but the most important point to get across in this is to make sure you ask your actual customer. Test your idea on your customer. Now that might sound like common sense, but all too often potential startups test their idea on friends and family because it's comfortable. It's really important that you identify who your target customer segment is, search them out and test your idea on them. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that will be parting with their cash to buy your product or service. When it comes to testing, there's so many ways that you can do it. Most commonly, we see people doing online surveys, and there's lots of free tools to use there, such as SurveyMonkey, Typeform, or even Google Forms. People can also host focus groups, once again, online or offline. Online, it's simple to do this, setting up a Zoom call. Just put a call out on social media to say you're running a focus group, you'd like some participants, potentially offer an incentive, and get a group of people on there. You can also host one-to-one interviews. Sometimes it's useful to do this through a third party so that there's less bias. That can be done once again online or offline. A great tool to use is user videos as well. So if you were to give a potential customer your product or service and then film them using it, that might be an actual physical product, an MVP or prototype, or it could be a web page. If you can film them using it, you can get some extremely interesting insights into how they interact with your product or service. And it's often things that you wouldn't pick up or they wouldn't think to say if they were talking to you. Another great method is to use social media profiles and try and engage with potential customers. So even if you're just testing an idea, throw an Instagram page or a Facebook page up for that idea and just start to put little bits of content out there, feed the audience and see what the interaction is back. That can be a really useful tool. It's free and you can really start to see if the customer is engaging with your product, service, your message, how your brand is looking. It can be excellent tool to use. Another way to do it is potentially to set up something like a crowdfunding campaign. Get all the content about your idea or product or service up there. Launch a campaign almost as a test, so then you can see what the feedback is, if people like it, if they're willing to part with their cash for it. It can be a really useful tool. The most important thing when it comes to doing all of this idea testing and validation is to keep asking your customer why. So if they are saying something specific about your product or service, ask them why. Ask why, ask why, and ask why again. Because by asking why, you'll start to really get to their pain point and understand if your value proposition matches up with that. So for every question you'd ask why a couple of times and see if you can strip back and get a little bit deeper into what's making the customer think or feel that way. And a few quick tips to finish up. Make sure the feedback that you get is quality. So if you speak to 10 people instead of 100 people, but the 10 people have really qualitative feedback, then that's excellent. All of this research is really useful, but please make sure you take time to analyze that feedback and make the appropriate changes. Don't take it personally if the feedback isn't great. Often we think of our startup product or service ideas as our babies. But it's important to be able to separate yourself from that fact so that you can develop a product or service that is amazing. And this is an ongoing process. It's iteration and testing and iteration and testing. You'll be doing this process throughout the whole of your business life cycle, or you should be at least. So make the changes, take on board the feedback, make the changes, take on board the feedback, make the changes, take on board the feedback, and just keep iterating your product or service until you've got something that customers really love. And down the road, when you develop a pipeline of new products or services, go through this process again. I hope that was helpful for you.